It's time for the One Bar and Lupaga Show, bringing you anything and everything Minnesota Vikings.
Welcome to professional football.
Right, welcome back to the One Bar and Lupaga Show. I am One Bar, and in today's episode, we're going to stay on the theme. We're going to be ranking the NFC North wide receiver corps worst to first. We've done this with quite a few positions so far in the NFC North. We're going to continue with the receivers. Before we get into that, remember, subscribe to the One Bar and Lupaga Show. Like the videos. We're here every damn day talking Minnesota Vikings. So let's talk wide receivers in the NFC North. When you look at it as a whole, there seems to be a theme that every team is just very top-heavy. They have their stud at receiver, and it quickly diminishes as far as depth after that. You got the Bears with Allen Robinson. You have the Lions with Kenny Galladay, the Packers with Devonte Adams, and the Vikings, of course, with Adam Thielen. Then a lot of question marks, but let's see how they shake out. And again, worst to first. And Vikings fans, I'm just going to warn you, it's not great. Not horrible, though. All right, so number 4, and this has been a theme for a lot of these position rankings we've been doing. Chicago Bears coming in at number 4. The Bears, and to be fair to them, we haven't done many defensive positions. So once defense starts cooking, I'm sure the Bears will be up there. But Bears, like I already said, they got Allen Robinson, who, after a first slow start, all right, welcome back to the One Bar and Lupaga Show. I'm One Bar, and in today's episode, we're going to continue to rank NFC North positions worst to first. And in this episode, we're talking wide receivers. Before we get into that, remember, subscribe to the One Bar and Lupaga Show. Like the videos. We're here every damn day talking purple. So this episode, wide receivers. And looking up and down at the depth charts of the receivers in the NFC North, there seems to be a very common theme with each team is they have a very top-heavy guy right off the top. They got their stud number 1 receiver and quickly kind of drops off after that. You got the Packers with Devonte Adams. You got the Bears with Allen Robinson. Lions, Kenny Galladay, and, of course, the Vikings with Adam Thielen. But that doesn't matter. We're ranking them as a whole. So let's get into this. And number 4, we're going worst to first, the 4th worst wide receiving core in the NFC North. Yes, you guessed it. Chicago Bears, we've done a handful of these position rankings, and the Bears have not fared well. But to be fair to them, we haven't done many defensive positions. So something tells me they'll knock it. They'll knock up a few notches when you do defense. So Bears coming in at number 4. Allen Robinson, like I said, is their main man. Robinson had a great year last year, 90-plus catches, over 1,000 yards, starting to show his former Jacksonville Jaguar type of play. Robinson's always, with his size, he's always a pain point for anybody. But with him, they got Anthony Miller. They got Ted Ginn Jr. Yes, he is still playing. Anthony Miller is one of my favorite slot guys. Great number 3 receiver. If he can stay healthy, this guy can cause some problems. And then behind them, they got Riley Ridley, familiar name, Cordero Patterson, who didn't really do a ton last year's first year with Chicago. But let's face it, maybe these receivers are better, but they got Mitch Trubisky throwing the ball. Maybe Nick Foles. That does not help their case. But overall, just after Robinson, it's just such a big drop. I had to put them 4. Some people might be questioning, the Vikings have a pretty big drop after Adam Thielen. But you know what? Let's just get into it. Number 3. Number 3, I got the Vikings landing as the third best in the NFC North. We got Adam Thielen. We know what we got there. He's getting a little long in the tooth, but you know what? He is still producing. Injured last year for a chunk of the year, but still damn good. The big issue with the Vikings is, yes, we go from Stephon Diggs to a unproven rookie first-round Justin Jefferson. So a year from now, it'd be interesting to see where these rank and see how Justin Jefferson does as a rookie. Wide receivers, as we know, we've seen firsthand, very tough transition from college ball to the NFL, but Jefferson appears to be one of the more NFL-ready receivers that were drafted this year, so that'll be a fun one to watch. And after Jefferson, we got B.C. Johnson, appears to be a very good quality number 3, number 4 receiver in the league. Great surprise last year. And then, just a handful of young guys. Osborne, we still got Chad Beebe that people are just holding out hope that he's going to be fantastic. Tajay Sharp, who we brought in from the Titans, but just a pretty big drop-off until Justin Jefferson proves something. There's no way I could put these guys higher than 3. And number 2, which is actually pretty surprising when I started looking up and down, because I got the Packers at 2, and one of their biggest needs is receiver. And still, surprisingly, I still can't see how they did not address this in the NFL draft, but they didn't. They got Devonte Adams. Devonte Adams is the best receiver in the NFC North. Devonte Adams is one of the best receivers in the NFL, period. So that gets them all the way up to number 2, even though behind him they got Allen Lazard, they got newcomer Devin Funchess, they got Valdez Scantling. Behind them, not much. Lazard, Funchess offer big size to go, which pairs nicely with Devonte Adams. Devin Funchess, coming over from the Colts, used to be with the Panthers, was highly touted out of the NFL draft a handful of years ago. Has not lived up to that, but Funchess does make some plays. Something tells me he will give the Vikings a little bit of trouble with our secondary. And Lazard, he's got big size. And other than that, not much. Aaron Rodgers, boy, he had to have been very excited on draft day to watch them pass on all those receivers. But Adams is the bread and butter. And that will help open things up for these other guys that I mentioned. And then we go to number 1, Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions, I had them high on the offensive line ranking. I got them number 1 for wide receiver. Unfortunately, that does not translate to a good record. But damn, Kenny Galladay, he's one of the best up-and-coming receivers in the NFL. I shouldn't even say up-and-coming anymore. He has arrived. Last year, 11 touchdowns, 1,200 yards. Year before that, a big year, 1,000 yards plus. And every year, this guy just gets better and better. Former third rounder out of 2017 draft. Pairing him up with Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones, one of the most underrated receivers during his career at Cincy. Then he comes over to Detroit, rips shit up. We saw it firsthand what Marvin Jones does. He's not been very nice to us. Throw in old-timer Danny Amendola, former Packer Geronimo Allison. Decent depth there. But Kenny Galladay, big playmaker, scares the hell out of me. I can only imagine what he's going to do to our young secondary. So Detroit Lions, and then to top it off, they got Stafford winging him the ball. So the Lions come in at 1. Those are my rankings for the NFC North wide receivers. Let me know in the comments where you think I went wrong, where you would have ranked them, and then stay tuned because we'll be back tomorrow.